Given the choice between Canon's EOS-R, the Panasonic GH5, or Fujifilm's new X-T3, which camera would I want to take out to do some travel or street photography? It's not even a contest. The X-T3 is a far more discreet camera that won't draw attention to itself. Plus, it's compact and pretty, qualities that personify Fujifilm cameras. It's not just about good looks though. The X-T3 is much smarter and more capable than the X-T2 that came before it, thanks to a higher resolution sensor, improved autofocus, and tons more speed. And with new tweaks, it's now the most capable APS-C camera you can buy for video. The X-T3 isn't perfect, but after trying it in Paris, I found that it's Fujifilm's best mirrorless camera yet. Fujifilm introduced 4K video and other key features with the X-T2, which got rave reviews at launch. With the X-T3, Fujifilm kept everything that was good, especially the discreet, stylish body and manual controls. I love the X-T3 for tourism and street photography. However, the petite form comes at a small cost in handling. Compared to the X-H1, it has a tiny handle that's not as easy to grab, especially if you have a big lens on it. A small body means a small battery, so you won't get nearly as many shots on a charge as you do with Sony's A7 III or even the cheaper Sony A6500. I found I could shoot video and photos for about half a day, so I'd need extra batteries or the optional battery grip to shoot any longer than that. At the same time, Fujifilm managed to dramatically increase performance over the X-T2. The electronic viewfinder has 3.69 million dots and a 100Hz refresh rate, and is one of the best I've ever tried. The rear display is now a full-touch model, letting you control both shooting and menus. However, it can't be flipped around like on the Canon EOS-R or Panasonic GH5, so the X-T3 may not be suitable for vloggers. Also, touch focus is still quite laggy. The X-T3 doesn't have in-body stabilization, unfortunately. You'll need lenses that support the feature, and many of Fujifilm's primes lack it. Sony's A6500, the X-T3's main rival, does have 5-axis stabilization. The X-T3 has good connectivity with USB Type-C, HDMI, and both headphone and microphone ports. Burst speeds are top-notch at 11 frames per second and an incredible 30 frames per second if you don't mind a 1.25 times crop. That's useless if the autofocus can't keep up, but the X-T3 has 4 times the phase detect pixels and 425 AF points instead of 329 on the X-T2. The result is superior autofocus tracking, especially with people's faces and eyes. It's still a little laggy, however, and not quite on par with Canon and Sony's systems. The X-T3 can do full sensor 10-bit cinema 4K recorded both internally and externally. You can record using Fujifilm's F-Log mode for maximum dynamic range or the Eterna cinema setting for excellent results right out of the camera. Video autofocus is pretty darn good now with very little hunting. Though again, not quite up to par with Canon's dual-pixel system or Panasonic's GH5. All of that yields sharp, color-accurate video that's easy to manipulate in post-production. I think the X-T3 is now the best APS-C camera you can buy for video, which I certainly didn't expect going into this review. But how about photos? Fujifilm cameras with X-Trans sensors are well loved for their excellent color reproduction and sharpness. That trend continues with the X-T3, which delivers crisp JPEG and RAW images, especially in good light. As you'd expect, ISO performance is inferior to full-frame cameras like Sony's A7 III, which delivers less noisy images at much higher ISOs. It's about the same in low light or slightly worse than the X-T2. However, considering the higher resolution sensor, I'd call it a wash. On the plus side, rolling shutter or jello is much better controlled than on the A6500 and Canon's EOS-R. The X-T3 should scare Panasonic, as it has an autofocus system that hunts less than the GH5 and will tempt folks who want a larger sensor. With its small, pretty body and great manual controls, the X-T3 has that Fujifilm mystique. At the same time, it performs worlds better than the similar-looking X-T2 and might even give potential buyers of the more expensive X-H1 pause. The X-T3 is also pretty costly. If you're willing to spend another $500, you can jump up to a full-frame camera with the Sony A7 III or Nikon's incoming Z6. Professional video shooters might want to spend another $200 to get the Panasonic GH5. In terms of APS-C competition, Sony's highly rated A6500 costs less. And if you don't need the extra speed and fancy new video functions, the previous X2 model can now be had for $1,100. In all, the X-T3 is a triumphant return to form for Fujifilm. Even with the new X-Trans sensor, improved autofocus, and higher shooting speeds, it would still be a winner. But Fujifilm outdid itself on video, vaulting the X-T3 to the top of the APS-C mirrorless podium.